Explorer, your wonderful solo woman traveler, and today I'm here to take you from passport to Pinot. So in today's video, I'm actually going to talk about 5 different destinations. So for solo female travel and wine adventures for 2025. So let's get into this travel destination guide for 2025. Now, mind you, this is going to be based on my experiences. I don't recommend destinations I haven't been to, and it's going to be for you as the solo woman traveler, you as the wine lover, a combination of both. It could also work for you in a girls trip or for your significant other or whatever it may be, but these are my top 5 destinations for 2025. Let's get into today's video. Before we do, please make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. It is free for you to do so. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Now for real, let's get into my travel destination guide for 2025. So before I get into these 5 destinations, they are not ranked in any order. And also I'm going to give some destinations touching on different places around the globe, again, based on my experiences throughout the prior years. I do not recommend any place that I haven't been to, okay? And also I know the globe is changing, the world is changing from political issues to climate issues to people and societal issues overall. So that's why I want to kind of touch on different places throughout the globe, and hopefully you can find a place that works for you. Now mind you, some people may not want to travel far from home this coming year because of all the things that are going on in the world. That is fine. You can always stay at home because there's plenty of things at home that you can always see again or things you have never seen before. With that said, let's get into more of the cultural experience in Morocco. So Morocco, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this as a solo female travel destination, yet you could do it if you are the adventurous one. I went to Morocco on a group trip and it was a wonderful experience. I went to Marrakesh and Essaouira. Marrakesh was so beautiful. A lot of cultural and historical information was learned there. A lot of food was eaten while in Marrakesh. Got to see things like the Marjorelle Gardens, the Yves Saint Laurent Museum, going and shopping in the souks, the minaret, learning about their call to prayer, learning more about the religion and how it's practiced in Morocco. But if you are a wine lover, Morocco has that for you too. So Morocco is a place where wine or alcohol is not necessarily a part of the culture, but people do consume it in Morocco. I wouldn't say it's illegal, but it is illegal. I don't know, I got like that kind of vibe from our tour guide while I was in Morocco, but you can still consume the alcohol, and they actually have wineries in Morocco. One winery I went to was Laval d'Argan, I believe that was the name of it, and it is near Essaouira, Morocco. And we stopped there on the way from Marrakesh to Essaouira on our road trip. It was about 2.5 hours from Marrakesh to Essaouira, which Essaouira is actually a coastal city. It's a beautiful city, and it's actually a lot cooler since it's near the ocean. Cooler in temperature, that is. But the winery was pretty cool in getting to taste the wines there. If you want to enjoy wine, there is winery. Now that's the winery that is near Essaouira. There are other wineries throughout Morocco if you desire to adventure further. Like I said, I only went to Marrakesh and Essaouira, but from what I understand, there are wineries near Rabat and Fez. So you can always check out those places, which I also hear is wonderful. I just can't speak on them. You can also have an amazing luxury experience in Morocco. And you can check out my Morocco travel guide, which came out 2 weeks ago. If you want to get more information, or you could just check out my Morocco playlist if you want to learn more about my travels to Morocco to help you plan. Now next up, you want the beach vibes, you want the island vibes, you want to go to Barbados. I have not shared my Barbados content here just yet, but I did go to Barbados recently and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Now Barbados is going to be a little bit more on the expensive side compared to some of the other destinations I have on the list because it is a Caribbean island. They do have to import a lot of things into their country for consumption. But it is such a great time. The people are so nice in Barbados. And if you go as a solo woman traveler, you do not have to feel concerned walking around or anything of that nature. You will eat a lot. Like I thought I ate a lot in Morocco. Morocco has nothing on Barbados, which I will talk about in future videos. Now, you're not gonna get the wine in Barbados. If you're looking for wine, you can get wine, obviously in the restaurants or whatever, but you're not gonna have the full wine experience like wineries and vineyards and all of that jazz because you're gonna get rum. Rum is actually originally from Barbados. I did not know that until I went there. I was like, wow, I thought it was another island. But no, they schooled me real quick to let me know rum is from Barbados. So they have multiple distilleries in Barbados. I believe there's 4 or 5 distilleries. I did not go to all of them, but I did go to Foursquare, which I believe is the only, or one of the only, but I think it's the only distillery left that is fully owned by someone in Barbados. And then I went to Mount Gay, which I believe is now owned by Remy Martin, which is a French company. So 2 different distilleries, very strong rum, yet tasty. So you definitely can get that. But of course you can get beach time. You can go on the mountains or hills. I don't know if they're technically mountains, but they do have, it's not a fully flat landscape. And so you could see some beautiful views and just relax. It's a time to relax when you're in Barbados. And if you book a trip to Barbados, make sure you book one where you're there on a Friday so you can go to Oystons for their Fish Fry Fridays. But I look forward to sharing with you more from Barbados. But it's definitely high up on the list for a solo traveler or rum drinker or a girls trip or family trip, whatever you want it to be. Great time. Now let's reel it back on home, close to home. If you are from the US, obviously the US is a big country, y'all. There's a lot of different regions, a lot of different sceneries and places to go in the US. But I do want to highlight one region for you, which is close to my home here in Atlanta. If you come to Atlanta, because a lot of people come to Georgia to go to Atlanta, there are historical sites. Martin Luther King's from here. There's also places to party, a lot of places to eat. Don't believe everything. Some of the stuff Keith Lee said was true, but there's plenty of other restaurants that do not fit that mold. But there's a lot to do here outside of Atlanta. Atlanta is the mecca, the capital of the state of Georgia here in the US, but there are a lot of other smaller cities outside of Atlanta that you can enjoy for their own unique charm. You have Augusta, Georgia, where James Brown is from, and also the Masters National Golf Course is there. You also have Perry, Georgia, which has a lot of different activities like their International Festival. There's Savannah, Georgia, which is near the coast, is on the coast, is a very unique town. Forrest Gump was filmed there. I love Savannah, it's really cute. But one place that you could come to Atlanta, you fly into the world's busiest airport, you could stay in Atlanta, and you can actually take tours to North Georgia where there are wineries. You can go solo, you can go on a family trip, a girls trip, whatever, up to North Georgia. You can stay at Chateau Elan, which is a more luxurious winery in North Georgia. It is in Brazelton, I believe. It's beautiful. They have a winery, they have wine tastings, they have hotels on site, they have a spa. It's really nice. I don't know if they have airport pickup or not. I'm not too sure because I've never had to do it, of course. They also have other activities there if you do stay for an extended time. I believe they have cooking classes sometimes. You have to look at their schedule. But that's not the only winery. If you go to Dahlonega, Georgia, there's multiple wineries up there, and there are several companies like the Vino Van and other companies that will take you up there from the Atlanta area and take you around to different wineries so you can taste the wines. And that makes sure you are not driving and being responsible so you don't drink and drive. Also, there are wineries in Ellijay, Georgia. I actually recently went on a tour up there with the Vino van to Ellijay, Georgia to check out multiple wineries. And then also you can go up to Helen, Georgia, and you can actually go up there. They do have different activities throughout the year because you can go tubing on the Chattahoochee River as well in Helen. There's wineries near Helen. There's a German market there. Really cute town. So you could definitely get a different experience if you come into Atlanta and still have just some time outside of nature and being at the wineries. Now let's talk about a more classic type of trip is to France. And if you're into wine, you would definitely want to go to the Burgundy region or Beaujolais, but you can get wine pretty much anywhere. Like the French loves their wine. Their wine is more of that old world wine. So when you think of wine taste, you're usually gonna expect it to probably be a flavor of the French wine. But going to the wine regions in France, you may actually go to a castle or a chateau, as they would say in French, and there's a winery there. You can do wine tasting. If you go through in November, there is Nouveau Beaujolais, which is when the new Beaujolais wine comes out for the following year. So there is just a lot of different wonderful wineries in the Burgundy area. Now, if you want to just really indulge in wine while you're in France, you can always take a wine river cruise, which goes along the Rhone River. It usually goes north to south, south to north, depending on your route, and it's going to go through different regions like Provence or Burgundy. You're gonna have wine on board. You're gonna have someone on the ship that actually is a wine vintner. So they're probably someone who works at a vineyard who is really knowledgeable about wine, and you get to learn more of the history of that winemaker and their wine story and how the wines taste and why they taste like that. You're going to go through different wine tours while you're on the cruise, and you're going to stop at different places like a chateau for a wine tasting and seeing the vineyards and all of that. And it makes it nice because you have your hotel moving with you and as you enjoy the countryside of France. So this is great for, I went kind of solo because it was booked through a tour group, but I was solo. So there was times where I'm like, I'll see y'all later. And I would go to my room and I would be by myself watching TV or doing whatever in my room. But it's also nice if you are on a group trip, you can see them at some point, or it's also great if you're there like as a couple to enjoy the wine cruise. Now, my last suggestion for my travel destination recommendation for the solo traveler and or wine lover for 2025 is Mexico. Now, the wine region in Mexico is starting to get a little bit more popular, but I think it's a little more popular like on the west coast of the US, because a lot of people I've talked about Valle de Guadalupe, they don't know about it. And it is definitely a wonderful region to check out. So, of course, if you go to Mexico, Mexico is for anyone who wants to go to Mexico and appreciates Mexico, okay? So, Valle de Guadalupe is about, I think it was about 2 hours from Tijuana by car. You cannot fly into Valle de Guadalupe. You do have to fly to Tijuana, or if you're in the US, you can fly to San Diego and walk across the border or drive across the border at San Isidro crossing, which is the border between San Diego and Tijuana, Mexico. And you can drive from there to Valle de Guadalupe. Now, there's also tours that will take you from the US through the border crossing into Mexico to the wine region. When I went, my friends met me in Tijuana as they live in Mexico. They picked me up and we stopped at some towns along the way. So we got to see Rosarito, which is a cute little beach town. There's Puerto Nuevo, which is known for its lobster. But then we ended up staying in Ensenada, which is a really cute town to stay in, and it's near Valle de Guadalupe. So if you want to enjoy that town a little bit, get some food, kind of wander around, do some shopping, definitely a great thing to do. And then Valle de Guadalupe, you can stay in some beautiful places out there, like the Hacienda house we stayed in. Oh my gosh, I woke up to looking over the valley. Gorgeous. And then it is highly recommended that you get a driver when you are out in the region, because one, the roads are rough. They are not paved. And two, you're going to be stopping at a lot of wineries. There are so many wineries out there. We went to 4 wineries while in Valle de Guadalupe, and there were still more to go to. So it is definitely wonderful. It is peaceful. It's not overcrowded with tourists just yet, but it is a peaceful experience, and I enjoyed it. But of course, there are plenty of other places to see in Mexico if you do not want to go to the wine region. If you're not the wine lover, obviously there's places like Cabo or Tulum or Puerto Vallarta, or there's Cancun, there's Mexico City. There's so many places that you can visit in Mexico. But if you are a solo traveler, or if you are a wine lover, Valle de Guadalupe is definitely a nice, peaceful, relaxing place to check out. Now, real quick, so all the places I mentioned, I have been to in some manner at some time in the recent past. But where am I going in 2025? I have a lot of things on my agenda. Hopefully all happens, all goes well. But I'm not gonna tell you the exact time I'm gonna be there, because I don't want you to show up there. I don't know who that is, but you're not showing up there. So I will be going to Portland, Oregon. I have been there before, but I have to go there for an event with a group that I'm involved with. I am going to New York City for a conference. Haven't been there in a while. I think I'm gonna go to Napa Valley finally. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Surprisingly, I've been to all these wine regions in the world. Surprisingly, I have not been to Napa Valley. That's in my own country. So I think I'm gonna try to do that. I also am planning to go to Tokyo and Seoul, South Korea. And I am planning to go to Rio, Brazil for a conference. And that is it for right now. I don't know if I'm going to make it anywhere else in 2025, but that is currently what's on my agenda. All right, explorers, so let me recap the 5 destinations I recommend for solo female and wine travel adventures in 2025 here in this destination guide. So you can go to Mexico's Valle de Guadalupe. You can go to France, Burgundy, Beaujolais, take a wine cruise. You can come to Atlanta in the US and go up to, well, obviously you can visit a lot of places in the state of Georgia in the US and enjoy Atlanta, but you can also take tours or stay up in North Georgia, Brazelton, Dahlonega, Ellijay, Helen, to enjoy the wine out there. You can go to Barbados if you don't want the wine, to try to rum and get a lot of island and beach vibes. And then you can always go to Morocco and get a different cultural immersive experience, see some historical things, as well as try some of the wine in Morocco. So let me know where you're planning to travel to in 2025. What do you think about my recommendations? What do you recommend? Leave that all down below in the comment box. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you hit that like button. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. It is free to do so, and it helps me provide more and better content to you in the future. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Make sure you share this video with your friends, family, and social media networks. And if you really enjoyed this destination guide for 2025, you can leave me a tip by hitting the thanks button down below. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day or night wherever in the world you are. Bye.